Joe Biden's always painted himself as a defender of the middle class, but this tax policy pitch flies in the face of helping everyday Americans.
My predecessor rolled back protection for American workers. He opposed increases in federal minimum wage, and he was proud, very proud of his $2 trillion tax cut when he was president that overwhelmingly benefited the wealthy and created the biggest corporations. By the way, there's no exaggeration here. It's going to expire. And if I'm reelected, it's going to stay expired.
Another whisper.
That's a bunch of pig potatoes, maybe not the pledge that he's going to let it expire. With this latest pledge to let the Trump tax cuts expire, he's ensuring those same people are going to be hurt by a tax increase. The vast majority of Americans, in fact.
The vast majority, by the way, had to pay less in taxes after the Trump tax code was voted in. But his remarks led to yet another cleanup on Kyle Biden, with White House officials telling the New York Post last week that Biden would, quote, extend the tax cuts for those making less than $400,000, and that his budget would further cut taxes for the middle class and working families.
Here with reaction, FreedomWorks chief economist and Committee to Unleash Prosperity co-founder Steve Moore. This blows up in his face because the Trump tax cuts helped the vast majority of Americans, and middle-class households got the biggest benefit.
You guys are exactly right about that, and I think Biden really stepped in it on this one, because he's been talking about how he never wants to raise taxes on the middle class. By the way, the inflation dragon that he unleashed, of course, is a tax on the middle class. But this would be, I was looking at the numbers in preparation for this show, this would be maybe the biggest middle class tax increase we've seen in 40 or 50 years in this country, because as David, you're exactly right about this. So many of those tax cuts, for example, the increase in the standard deduction and the lower rates for middle class people, really, in fact, most of the revenue loss, to the extent there was one, was affecting the middle class. So how is he going to go around and say, I'm not going to raise taxes for the middle class, when he wants to let all these tax cuts expire?
Yeah, one thing that I just gets under my skin every time I hear it, when he claims that the Trump tax code added $2 trillion to the deficit. The Trump tax code has led to this boom in tax revenues of 48%, a 48% increase from 2017, when the tax cuts kicked in, to 2022. 47.7% increase in revenues. How can a 40% increase in revenue add to the deficit? Explain that one.
Right. I mean, they used to say that about the Reagan tax cuts, and of course we had an explosion of revenues then. It's the Laffer curve. You know that, David. It's and Dagan. When you cut tax rates, you get a better economy. We saw a better economy clearly in 2017 and 18 and 19 until COVID hit, and those effects continue. By the way, even the corporate tax rate. Here's one that's amazing, David and Dagan. We cut the corporate rate from 35 to 21%. That's a pretty big reduction in the rate, and we got more revenues for the companies, because we brought a lot of money back into the United States that had been parked in Europe and other countries.
Before we move on to this, I just want to note, we were talking about all that money that goes to the universities. It was the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that imposed a new tax of 1.4% on investment income for university endowments. It's the very first time anybody has tried to take a little bit of that money away from these overfunded Nazi indoctrination camps. Go ahead.
By the way,
my only problem with that is I think that tax should be 10 or 20%, given what's going on in the university campuses. And that money should be used, if we're going to do debt forgiveness on student loans, why not tax the endowments and use that money for that? Why should the general taxpayer have to pay for that?
Well, and I can't wait to hear, if Trump is elected, to see what kind of tax changes they're going to enact, and perhaps we'll get closer to a flat tax. But we wanted to get your take on this final issue, Steve. Uncharted territory.
I just want to repeat this. This is a tax increase on the middle class, the biggest tax increase on the middle class that he's proposing in 50 years.
It's a good point. But there is another tax, and it's the tax of regulation. I know the Wall Street Journal used to be writing a lot about that, and it is huge under this administration. It is now costing $1.3 trillion, right? All of these regulations.
This includes $870 billion recently added as part of the new EPA tailpipe emissions rules. Those alone nearly match the total of the entire Obama presidency. These regulations are insidious. They hammer businesses, but they also they try to hide the deleterious impact on everyday Americans.
So this past week, the week isn't even over yet, has been, by many estimates, the single week in American history that has brought the most new regulations. We're going to probably get a new regulation, Dagan and David, tomorrow morning when the Federal Communications Commission votes to re-regulate the Internet. I don't know about you guys, I think the Internet's doing just fine without all these regulations.
And
I mean, 95% of Americans.
It was the cost under the Trump administration in 4 years of Trump was $30 billion because he had some regulations. Under Biden, the $1.37 trillion, that's 4,500% increase under Biden.
Exactly.
A 4,500% increase in the cost of regulations under this administration.
If they can't do it
they're not slowing down.
Yeah, if they can't do it out in the open, they'll do it behind closed doors. It will screw you and business owners at every turn. Steve Moore.
Good to see you, Steve.
Hey, I didn't drop the F-bomb. Hey, we got that going for us. Thank you, Steve.